Well, I think it's time to get these baby chicks out of our house. Well, there is the new little brooder for our 30 Isobrown chickens. So I just built those little stands in there for the food and for the water. The higher you can keep those up out of the wood chips, the longer they're going to stay clean. I've got our infrared ceramic heater in here, so that's producing heat but no light. So that's what those, I talk about this every time I do a chicken brooder video, but that's the best option I think for these kinds of things. I like these a lot better than those light bulbs. They just don't last. I've had them burn out on me and had almost lost a lot of chickens because I've had the lights burn out overnight or things like that, and they get super cold. This is just plugged into an extension cord here, and I've got it hung with some fencing wire, actually some electric wire that I'm using for that. So that's pretty secure. And then I just have it coated with wood shavings. So I built this with just all scrap lumber that I had laying around. I actually put this piece of plywood on the back here for two reasons. Number one, I was just short on my hardware cloth. So you can see I didn't have enough to wrap all the way around with the scrap that I had. So I threw this piece of 1/4-inch plywood in there that also will help create a little bit of a deflection there for the heat. So it'll create a little warmer area here for them. But this is in our garage, and this is an insulated garage. It's not heated, but this should stay pretty warm. It's only getting down to at the lowest 30 degrees most nights here, so this should be just fine for them. They're 2 weeks old, about 2 weeks old now, and so they'll do just fine in here. So I built this whole thing on a tarp, so the floor of it is actually just the tarp, and then I folded it up here so that it makes kind of a bucket. So that all the wood shavings will stay in there. They won't kick as much out over through the edge, through the hardware cloth. And then once this is done, once they're in a few weeks, about 4 or 5 weeks, we'll leave them in here. And then all I have to do is just unstaple the tarp here, lift the whole unit off of the tarp, and fold the tarp up, take it out to the compost pile. Hey, they keep getting back out. A lot of progress here. So the SSL family mom thought that they might be too cold, so we put a little wood across the top just to make sure that they're nice and warm in there. That should help to hold a little bit of extra heat in. So today it was 68 degrees, and looks like the next 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, we're going to be getting up into the 50s at least every day, upper 40s and 50s. So they're going to be fine in here. It's probably 60 degrees in here pretty much consistently. And that heat lamp will make a nice warm spot for them right underneath it. So they'll just venture out to get their water and their food. So I like to spread everything out to get them to move around. So they'll go and they'll lay down underneath the heat lamp and settle down there and sleep. And then they'll wake up and they'll kind of wander around, get some walking around, and spread out a little bit so that their manures aren't all concentrated in one half of the brooder. This way it kind of gets them to at least walk over here and get their food and they'll spend their time being curious like they are. They're learning to scratch and look for food. They're eating wood chips right now. They'll eat a lot of wood chips. Doesn't seem to hurt them, but they will eat a lot of them. So for the first few months, probably even 4 months, I would say, we'll feed them this high protein food. The only difference between this stuff and the regular feed that we give the other chickens is it's got the higher protein. So where the other stuff is maybe 16-18%, this stuff is real high protein. So it helps them to grow and get a lot. We want them to add a lot of bulk, a lot of weight. Really all these chicks need are that that feed. So we've got the feeders in here. There's all kinds of different feeders that you can use or make or have, but they just need access to food, they need access to fresh water, and they need access to some kind of warmth. There's lots of different information out there on raising baby chicks. A lot of people like to, have thermometers and make sure that the temperature is exactly, 90 degrees for a certain week, and then 85, and then they can, lower down. I just like to leave the heat lamp just about this far away from the ground, and they will regulate their own heat. So if they get too warm, they'll move off to the edge of it where it's a little cooler. If they're too cold, they'll move in and they'll cuddle up right underneath it, and where that's the hottest spot. So this is just seems to work the best for us, and we've done this for years, and we've never had an issue with them being too cold. So this year I've heard lots of reports and theories that we're going to have very high chicken meat prices, egg prices, beef, pork, all that stuff is going to be it's going to get more and more expensive, especially because grain costs and other things going up because of the war in Ukraine. So that was one of the factors that helped us to kind of push to get more chickens. I actually might go grab 5 or 10 more. I've got a idea for breeding. I may try to breed some of the larger meat birds with these Isa Browns and see if we can get kind of a combination of a really heavy bird and also a good egg layer. So might play around with that a little bit. But we really like to have a lot of chickens here. We loved having a lot of chickens at our old home as well. We've had up to 50 chickens on the farm, and here we'll probably keep between 30 and 40. Right now, with the older hens that we have, plus these, we're going to have 40 hens, or 40 chickens total. We've got some roosters in there too. But I'm okay having even more than that. I could push it up to 50, I guess. And I think we've got enough space in that new coop to raise that many. We've got a good size pasture area for them to kind of scratch around and things. So we love to have chickens, and these Isa Browns, this is the first breed of chicken that we had. When we started our chicken adventures back in the suburban homestead, we had the suburban coop that we built and then had plans available for free. That's been a very popular thing, and we bought our first six chickens in the subdivision, and they were all Isa Browns. So there's lots of different breeds of chickens out there, of course, that you can get. One of the factors that went into us getting these was that they are just real heavy egg layers. So we'll be using these guys and future generations of them to breed in some nice heavy egg laying into our flock. We generally raise our own chicks, but every few years we'll buy a batch of mixed breeds usually to try to get some different genetics into the flock that we have here. The other advantage of the Isa Browns is they are what's called sex-linked. That means that there are several varieties that are this way, but when these are bred, all of the females are a different color than the males, so they're very easy to know what gender they are. So all of these are hens, all of these are females. There's no roosters in here. We already have 4 roosters, and we don't need any more. I plan to keep the roosters we have, and just because they're good genetics, but we want to have more hens and not any more roosters. So hopefully you enjoyed just a quick little chicken video today, getting the brooder set up, and hopefully gave you maybe some ideas if you're looking to do something like this yourself. We like to start them off in the house just to make sure that they can get a good start at life, make sure we can pay attention to them, make sure they're nice and warm, make sure they get food and water changed regularly. All that stuff is real easy to do in the house and usually a cardboard box. After a few weeks, we'll move them out. Usually we used to move them out to our barn, and in this case, we're going to move them to the garage. From here, they will go out to some of the little coops that we have. We'll split them into the 2 smaller coops. We'll raise them out there for probably another few weeks, and then probably midsummer we will put them in the main coop and let them mix in with the older chickens that we have. So let me know if you guys have any questions about this process, if you're looking to get baby chicks or anything like that. I do check comments regularly, and I'd love to help you out in any way that I can, sharing whatever experience or knowledge that we have. And of course, for you veterans out there with raising baby chicks, I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think? What is your process? What do you like to do? Share that in the comments down below for not just us, but for everybody else that's watching or may watch this video in the future. So don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video. Of course, subscribe if this is your first time here. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.